everyone, and welcome to today's daily message brought to you by Unity Clear Lake Center. So today I am beginning a 12-day look at the book Lessons in Truth by H. Emily Cady. This book is considered one of the first books to read to understand the philosophy of the Unity movement. In the first chapter of the book, Dr. Cady stresses the importance of being the truth rather than just knowing the truth. She writes, "We must seek rather to consciously be the truth, the love, the wisdom, be life, and let results take care of themselves." So in just about everything we're reading these days, every YouTube we watch, movies, etc., they're all telling us now to be truly who we are. So the question is, are we being the truth of our being? Are we really looking at who we are, what we're really thinking, what we're really feeling during the day? Are we really doing the work necessary to change our inner being? Or are we just knowing things in our heads and then still not doing the deeper inner work to change ourselves? Are we giving ourselves a spiritual excuse for being less than who we actually could be? We have come to know now that there's nothing wrong with any feeling that you have, that there's nothing wrong with any thought you have. We have to understand the truth of that statement. Just because you get upset and angry at something isn't going to make you go back to base one on your spiritual journey. We're here as these incredible spiritual beings in this earth body, having these great experiences around here. We came down here to this earth plane to feel what it feels like and to experience being in these three-dimensional bodies in this third-dimensional earth. So guess what? Feelings are just feelings. Thoughts are just thoughts. You're not going to get struck dead because you got angry about something. But what I'm beginning to notice in people, at least some people, is that they're actually using this as an excuse now to stay angry. They seem to get angrier faster, they get upset easier, and they're far more short-tempered than what they used to be. And their statement is, "I'm just honoring my feelings and there's nothing wrong with getting angry." Yes, there's a truth to that statement, and I have to ask myself, but is that where you really want to be? It's one thing to honor your feelings and honor who you are at the moment, and it's another thing to use all this spiritual insight and awareness as an excuse to be less than who you actually could be. The fact is, what I'm also hearing from the very same people who are constantly giving way to honoring their feelings in this negative way is that they're also complaining about how their lives are always a challenge. Well, if you're upset and angry all the time, how can things be any different? At some point in time, we have to look at ourselves and say, yes, I feel upset about this, I feel angry, but is this the energy I really want in my life? So even though I feel upset and angry, do I want to hang on to feeling upset and angry? Or can I do something about it? So Dr. Cady writes, "Every soul must take time daily for quiet in meditation. In this lies the secret of power. No one can grow in either spiritual knowledge or power without it. Practice the presence of God just as you would practice music. No one would ever dream of becoming a power in music except by spending some time daily along with music. Daily meditation alone with God seems some way to focus divine presence within us and to our consciousness." So Cady writes, "When we are consciously the truth, it will radiate from us and accomplish the works without ever running to and fro." So it's imperative to take time for meditation. Just taking quiet time to commune with God. Some people can't seem to be able to sit still and quiet their minds enough to be really called meditation, but there's also something called contemplation that gives you that time to commune with God. Sitting and reading a spiritual book and contemplating what's written in there still puts you in the mindset of your connection with that God source energy. For many, just sitting and reading one of the many, many books that are out there right now on our being that God force energy here on earth puts us into that space of actually feeling ourselves as being that energy. Wayne Dyer mentioned in several of his books that just the idea of walking along the beach, walking in the woods, going to a park near your house, are all times that you could be in what he calls contemplative meditation, contemplating our oneness with all that surrounds us while we are out walking in nature is a great way to get into that feeling that we are this God force energy down here on earth. The challenge is, if we really want to move into the fullness of that God energy, we have to let go of some of those other feelings and emotions that we keep hanging on to by saying they're all right. Yes, they're all right, but sometimes we have to even let go of things to be better than all right. There's such beauty, such love, such compassion in the God force energy that we actually are, that we can turn that energy into ourselves and love the parts of us that don't want to let go of the anger, don't want to let go of the hurts and the pains. There is something we have to ask ourselves. Are we hanging on to our feelings of anger and resentment and frustration so that we can look at them and say, these are just feelings. There's nothing wrong with these feelings. No matter what they are, they're just a feeling, and let them go? Or are we hanging on to our feelings of anger and resentment and frustration, saying there's nothing wrong with feelings, so we can give ourselves permission to stay in the feelings of anger and resentment and frustration? Jesus knew who he was. He knew he was the light of God on this planet, and yet this planet also holds a lot of negative energy around us. Energy that isn't always of the highest quality. So Jesus himself always took time away from the doings of the world so he could come more fully back into contact with who and what he really was, this high spiritual being with incredible spiritual powers. He knew he had to rise above the things of the earth in order to be able to be who he came to be and do what he came to do. Matt Kahn is one of the many modern day spiritual teachers that some of us are listening to. And one of the first statements that he made when I was first listening to him years ago was this statement: love what arises. When you love what arises, the anxieties, the anger, the resentments, the whatever, we move into that state of accepting ourselves just as we are. When we're loving what arises, truly loving what arises, it dissipates the anger, the frustration, the resentment, the whatever. When we are truly moving into a loving space for ourselves, it dissipates any level of judgment we may have going on to ourselves, to another person, to an event, because only love exists. Emily Cady wrote the same thing almost 130 years ago when she wrote, "Do not be under bondage to false beliefs about your circumstances or environment. God is in everything that happens to you." So we can get hung up with our feelings, our emotions, making them all okay, or we can just know they're okay and move back into just being the light in the situation. Cady writes, "The ultimate aim of every soul should be to come into the consciousness of an indwelling God. And then when we're faced with perplexing situations, we can release the frustrations, anxiety, whatever we're feeling, to this God force that we are for resolution." She writes, "Victory must be won in the silence of your own soul first. And then you need take no part in the outer demonstration or relief from conditions. When we understand that we are down here on this earth to grow spiritually, to grow in love, then everything around us, no matter what happens, it's just a call to love more. That's all it is. It's a tap on our shoulder saying, we need you to love more on this earth. We need you to spread the love on this earth today. So I leave you today to go spread more love to this planet and everyone on it. And may you all have an absolutely beautiful day today. Much love, everyone. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. God bless.